advice that you would give current law students?
You know, a lot of times you ask practicing lawyers when they have, they're going to say, oh, my kid's never going to law school, you know, because I think the ins and outs of the grind sometimes can get to us. There's like a lot of psychology that is involved with being a lawyer. My personal opinion is it's one of the best degrees that you can ever get. So my advice would be, if you have an interest in pursuing the law, dig into it. I think that the most beneficial thing you could do is probably call, if you know anybody in the law, or just call a bar association and say, I'd like to shadow someone for a day or a week. I know lawyers who would do that in a heartbeat. I've done it. I know Bob's probably done it, and many other lawyers. My advice would be go seek out somebody who's doing it and spend some time with them and ask the questions that you have and find out really what it's about. The degree is spectacular. The degree makes us think differently, makes you process things differently. The practice of law, there's a million things that you can do with a law degree. It's a great degree, but it's hard. There's nothing easy about it, so I'd say find out what it's about.
So you say somebody is interested in being a lawyer. You have law students now, and they want to be, they want to be a good lawyer. They want to go out and help people. What do you tell those? How do you get from having a law degree to being able to go help a guy change a person's life, like you described?
Right. Or find your niche. Almost.
I think the only way you do that is experience. So a lot of times, what I tell, I've spoken to classes and before, like what you're asking, I say, if you're truly interested in this, you have to go find a mentor. You have to go find somebody that's going to tell you what the ins and outs are. Also try and experience what it is on a day-to-day existence to wake up and be a lawyer and the responsibilities of that. I don't think there's any movie, any book that you can point to other than experience. And one of the things that law school I think doesn't give us is the idea of mentorship, of really having someone in the community where you want to practice that's going to help you out those first 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, and I think that's in any career or profession, right? And if you care about your craft, you hear these stories about Kobe Bryant reaching out to Michael Jordan at 3 a.m. Like, how do you hit that spin? Whatever your craft is. And I think, I appreciate our friendship so much because you've helped me a lot. And I know Joe D'Amelio, he one of the very best lawyers. Best lawyers anywhere. This guy is incredible.
Yeah.
And so tell, you go in with your dad, but Joe is how much older? He's a little older than you?
So Joe's probably 10 years above me, maybe 9 years above me. And Joe had gone to Capital. That's actually how I wound up at Capital. Joe was working for my dad when I applied to schools, and he said, go apply to that one. It's good. And I'm glad I went. But Joe gave me...
So he was already, at that point, I think Joe's done 100 murder trials.
Yeah,
now.
Joe
But
was
at that point,
kicking off into the real hard, heavy-duty criminal defense practice and making a name for himself right when I got out of law school. So he wasn't where he is now. He was just climbing that ladder.
He's probably mid-30s.
Yeah.
And just grinding.
Mid-30s. And we were like family. But I remember, every lawyer has their own kind of trick of the trade, what we do. But Joe gave me the best piece of advice, and I'll share this with law students while they're in law school or if you go out and practice law. And I think one of my first trials coming up, probably a misdemeanor criminal trial in city court, and when you're a young lawyer, those seem like the biggest, heaviest things on the planet. And I think Joe gave me the best piece of advice that I ever had, and he was helping me prepare. And I was probably getting overwhelmed or confused about something. I said, don't worry about that. He said, the key is you never let anybody outwork you. You outwork whomever you're going against. If you're up later, if you're researching harder, you never let anyone outwork you, and you're always going to do fine. And it was the best piece of advice for a young lawyer that I was probably a little scared, a little intimidated going into city court and county court, not knowing what I was doing. And I think it was wonderful to have Joe there, along with my dad, who had really been an established lawyer in the community for a long time.
And you have a great relationship with a lot of lawyers and judges, and that, I think, is your personality. And in some ways, I think we have similar personality traits sometimes where you're able to ask for help. It's like, people don't ask for help. They don't do it. If you need help and you ask people honestly and humbly, they will generally help.
I agree wholeheartedly, Bob. I think as lawyers have this kind of personality trait anyway, where I think there's some bit of ego that follows you through law school, or you develop it. And if you can keep that in check and be humble, and when you don't know something, instead of being the loudest voice in the room, be the smartest voice in the room. Be the one that will ask for help. Be the one, and I agree with you. That's key.